Let me ask you something. Have you ever met a business analyst who knew all the tools but still struggled on projects? Or someone who was amazing with people but couldn't clearly explain what requirements actually were? Here's the truth most people don't tell you. Being a successful business analyst isn't about mastering just one skill. It's about having the right balance of skills. In this video, I'm going to break down the core business analyst skills you really need, both technical and soft skills. Why do they matter so much, and also which one is most important? Business analysis sits at the intersection of people, processes, and technology. That's why a business analyst needs a unique set of skills, not just a technical knowledge, but also critical thinking, communication, and emotional intelligence. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Natalia. I have over 15 years of experience in business analysis, working on a large complex programs, including multi-million-dollar, multi-year initiatives, involving major data, systems, processes, and business transformations. For the last 4 years, I work as a director, leading a team of business analysts and data analysts. And my goal here is to share my knowledge to help you grow in your BA journey. Let's dive in. In this video, we will cover 4 topics. Why BA skills matter. Core soft skills every BA must master. Essential technical skills. And which one is more important, soft or technical skills? Let's start with the foundation. Part 1. Why BA skills matter. Business analysts don't just succeed because they write perfect documents. They succeed because they create clarity in the project. Your skills determine how well you understand the real problem, not just the symptoms. How effectively you communicate with the stakeholders. Whether people trust your analysis and recommendations. And ultimately, whether the solution actually delivers the value. In my experience, I've seen 2 types of business analysts over and over again. 2 BAs work on the same project. One becomes a trusted advisor, someone who people rely on for insights and direction, and they go to that person when they have questions or they need clarity. The second one becomes just a note taker. Basically, they're just documenting everything what people say. So let me ask you a question. Which one do you think brings the value to the project? The difference between these 2 BAs isn't luck. It's a set of skills. And the bottom line why the skills matter is because it's all about what value do you bring to the team and to the project. So let's break down the core skills that makes BA truly successful and how to develop them even if you're just starting out. Part 2. Core soft skills for business analysts. First, communication and active listening. So this is without the question the most important skill that business analysts must have. You communicate with so many different groups, with executives and end users and developers and testers and product owners. And the challenge is all of those groups speak a different professional language. Executives focus on value and outcome. They don't really care about detailed story about your analysis or other nitty-gritty details. They focus on summary, outcome, and result. Developers focus on logic and technical details. Users talk about their daily frustrations and their needs. So strong communication, it's not about just talking. It's about how you interact. Asking clear, focused questions. Listening more than you speak. This is where your active listening really matters. Summarizing what you heard to confirm the understanding. And adjusting your message depending on your audience. A great business analyst doesn't just pass the information along. They translate into the message so everyone can understand each other. Imagine a room full of professionals who speak their own professional language because they do different jobs. You have business stakeholders, managers, testers, developers, and all of them have their own perspective, priorities, and terminology. So your role as a business analyst to translate requirements into a message that makes sense to all of these groups. And that's the main challenge for business analysts. However, if you have a great communication skills, that becomes your superpower. I'll give you 4 very important tips to develop this skill. Practice paraphrasing. So what I'm hearing is, or let me make sure I understand correctly, or let me play back to make sure that I got this right. Look for misunderstandings earlier instead of discovering them later when it's too costly to fix. Ask follow-up questions rather than making assumptions. Assumptions are one of the biggest causes of project issues. We are in 2026. AI is an excellent tool when it comes to clear writing. It can help polish your language and improve clarity. Just make sure you always review and validate the final version before using it. Stakeholder management and relationship building. Business analysts work with people, and people bring opinions, emotions, and sometimes resistance to change. So strong BAs know that success isn't about just solution. It's also about relationships. Great BAs, they build trust earlier. They create open and trustworthy connection that makes collaboration much easier throughout the project. They manage expectations clearly and consistently. Keep that momentum going throughout the project. They handle conflicts professionally and calmly. They stay neutral and objective even when discussion becomes challenging. And here's an important truth. Stakeholders don't just support solution, they support people they trust. How to develop the skill? Schedule one-on-one conversation to build stronger relationships. Acknowledge concerns before pushing for solutions. Be consistent and reliable. Do what you say you will do. 3. Emotional intelligence. The skill is often underestimated, but it's absolutely critical for business analysts. Emotional intelligence helps you to read the room and sense the unspoken concerns. It helps you to handle difficult stakeholders with professionalism, to stay calm under pressure, and separate emotions from facts during discussions. Projects can be stressful, especially when the deadlines are tight and the opinions differ. BA with a strong emotional intelligence keeps the conversations productive instead of letting them become personal. How to improve your emotional intelligence? Pause before reacting, especially in intense situations. Try not to take feedback personally. Their feedback is not about you. Focus on understanding others, not on winning the conversation. Skill number 4, critical thinking and problem solving. Business analysts are problem solvers. They're not note takers. Critical thinking means questioning assumptions instead of accepting them at face value. Identifying the real root cause behind an issue. Connecting patterns across processes, data, or stakeholder input. Challenging proposed solutions that don't actually address the core problem. When someone says, "We need a new system," BA doesn't just jump straight into the documenting requirements. BA would ask why, or what problem are we actually trying to solve. Quite often it's really about broken process or maybe some missing data or unclear roles. How to develop the skill? Use root cause techniques like 5 whys or fishbone diagrams. Regularly ask, what problem are we actually solving? Practice breaking big problems into smaller, manageable parts. Great BAs don't just define solution. They make sure that the right problem is actually being addressed in the first place. Skill 5, requirements analysis and documentation. Have you ever seen a project go wrong because requirements were not clear? That's not a small issue. And most of the time, that's a BA skill issue. Requirements analysis and documentation is where structure really matters. Strong business analysts know how to write clear, testable requirements, Use the right level of details, not too vague, not overly complex. Choose the appropriate format depending on the project. For example, BRD, user story, use case, or acceptance criteria. Good documentation doesn't just look professional, it reduces confusion across teams. It prevents costly rework and keeps everyone aligned on what actually is being built. Clear documentation turns conversations into shared understanding. How to improve the skill? So you can study examples of well-written requirements, or talk to developers and testers, ask for their feedback. Trust me, they will quickly tell you what's unclear. Focus on clarity over quantity. More words doesn't always mean better requirements. A great BA doesn't just capture information, they translate it into documentation that teams can confidently build from. Skill 5. Visualization. My favorite topic. Do you know one of the most powerful tools that Business Analyst has? That's right, visuals. They are BA's best friends, almost like a magic wand. They turn complex ideas into something people can understand quickly. And when people understand fast, the decisions are made faster. So don't just explain the ideas, show them. Think about back to school. Teachers don't just talk, they use a board to explain the lesson. So visuals work the same way in business analysis. They turn complex ideas into something simple and clear. Process maps, flowcharts, diagrams, models, they turn complex information into something people can understand quickly. They expose gaps, inefficiencies, and hidden assumptions. They help stakeholders see the big picture, not just isolated tasks. Sometimes a single diagram can do what 10 pages of text cannot. If you ever read The 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, you might remember how hard it was to keep track of all Buendia family members and how they all related. But the moment you look at the family tree, everything suddenly makes sense and the relationship becomes more clear. That's exactly what visuals do in business analysis. They turn something confusing and tangled into something structured. And if you use visuals in your project, I can guarantee you're going to hear a comment from at least one of your stakeholders. Oh, this is very helpful. I'm really a visual person. Well, spoiler alert, we're all visual people. Visuals also create alignment because before a diagram exists, everyone has their own picture in their head. But once you draw it, now everyone is looking into the same picture and misunderstandings drop dramatically. Now let's talk about how to build a skill. Start with the simple flowcharts before moving to complex models. Use tools like Visio, Lucidchart, Miro, or even PowerPoint. Make it a habit to turn discussions into visuals. I get it, not every conversation needs a diagram, but here's the rule of thumb. If something feels confusing, draw it. Trust me, great BAs don't just write, they make thinking visible. Skill 7. Systems and data awareness. No, you don't need to be a developer or have a technical background, but you do need to understand how systems and data work together. Business Analyst sits at the intersection of business and technology. The better you understand the technical landscape, the more effectively you can ask the right questions, spot risks earlier, or propose realistic solutions. This includes understanding of basic systems architecture, how different systems connect, data flows, where data comes from, where it goes, and how it transforms, integrations between platforms and tools, and reporting and data structures at the high level. This knowledge will help you to avoid very vague requirements like one system should talk to another system. Instead, ask what data, how often, in what format, what happens if it fails. Let's talk about how to develop the skill. Ask developers or architects to walk you through system diagrams. Review existing system documentation and integration maps. Strong BAs don't just understand the business problem, they understand the technical environment where their solution must live. Part 3. Core technical skills for business analysts. Today, business analysts don't just talk about requirements, they work with data to support decisions. You don't need to be a programmer, but to have a basic data skills make you more effective and confident. Here are the 3 technical skills every BA should have. First, Excel skills. Excel is one of the most useful tools and must-have for business analysts. Business analysts use Excel to analyze business data, spot trends and issues, validate assumptions with numbers, and create simple reports and charts. Important Excel skills include formulas like VLOOKUP and IF, pivot tables, filtering, and basic charts. Often, Excel is the first place a BA explores a problem before any system changes happen. How to improve? Practice to use real databases and challenge yourself to find the insights in the numbers. Second, technical skills. Basic SQL knowledge. SQL helps you to pull the data directly from the databases. You don't need to have advanced skills, but knowing basic queries allows you to check the data yourself, to validate requirements, and to investigate issue using the real information. Understanding simple commands like select, where, or group by is usually enough to make a big difference. How to improve? Take a beginner SQL course and practice with the sample databases. Third, technical skills. Data visualization tools like Power BI or Tableau. Analyzing data is important, but presenting it clearly is what drives decisions. Tools like Power BI and Tableau help BAs turn data into dashboards, show trends and performance, and support stakeholders with visual insights. Even basic knowledge helps you better define reporting needs and communicate data more effectively. How to improve the skill? Start by building simple charts and focus on telling a clear story with data. Why this matters? These technical skills will help you to ask smarter questions, to support ideas with evidence, to build credibility with the stakeholders, and they will also give you additional skill set that will help you to stand out from the crowd on the market. A BA who understands data becomes a trusted advisor, not just a note-taker. Part 4. Soft skills or technical skills? Which matters more? Here's the honest answer. You need both. Technical skills will help you to structure information clearly, analyze problems logically, and contribute meaningfully to solution discussions. But soft skills are what make all of that actually work in the real world. Soft skills help you to communicate effectively, to build trust with stakeholders, to influence decisions without authority, to create clarity when things feel messy, and mainly to guide people through change. Here's the reality. Most business analyst failures don't happen because someone didn't know a tool or technique. They happen because of miscommunication or wrong assumptions or unmanaged expectations or stakeholders' conflicts. A BA might write a perfect requirements, but if stakeholders don't feel that they were heard or teams were not aligned, the project still struggles. That's why strongest BAs don't just rely on their technical knowledge or their people skills. They balance both. They can analyze problem and navigate people around it. Before we come to the conclusion, if you enjoyed this video so far, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to this channel because I'm planning to post a lot of videos on business analyst topic. I know it was a lot of information to digest, but let's recap. Core soft business analyst skills include communication and active listening. Stakeholder management is all about relationship building. Emotional intelligence, remember, stay calm and professional. Critical thinking and problem solving. Ask why questions. Requirements analysis and documentation. Ensure requirements are clear for everyone. Visualization, your best BA friend. Systems and data awareness. We also covered core technical skills, which include Excel, basic SQL, and data visualization. Being a great business analyst isn't about knowing everything. It's about asking the right questions and creating clarity. And the right balanced set of skills will help you to succeed in your role. If you find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below which BA skills you want to improve the most, subscribe for more BA content, and I'll see you in the next video.